Excellent trade overall. You should have made a lot of money on that one. Waited for this beautiful A plus setup, which is to break again above this 584.20. And this is where I go long. Hello, this is Chad from American Dream Trading. I wanted to go over a couple of my favorite trades with you guys. So in this first example, I wanted to show you based off of a 1 minute time frame. So I'm going to be scalping off the 1 minute. Now, one of my favorite trades that I love to set up for, this is an A plus setup, is called a double top pullback. So what you guys are looking for is you're looking for either a pre-market high or a previous day high, something that you can go back in time and look at to see where it's going to form a double top. Now, in this instance, you can see that it actually happened during the regular market hours, and we were able to take advantage of this. So if you look right here, you can see this topped out at around 584.19. That's right here at the very top of this wick on the 1 minute candle. You can see then that it pulled back. It ran all the way until it got to around 10:05. So around 10:05. Now, why do I want to look at 10:05? Why does this look like a double top pullback to me? Well, because SPY around 584, the dollar amount that it is, this means that it can actually fluctuate between around 20 to 30 to sometimes 40 cents. So what do I mean by that? Well, the fact that it's up here at 584.19 means that in theory, if that's the case, this could potentially pull back to around 583.90 to start to tell you that this is actually the top. It doesn't have to necessarily get all the way back up, right, to 584.19, but it can be around that range. And technically, 584.19 is around 584. So same thing with this. Technically, around this 583.95, which is where it went, is technically, right, 584. So we're looking for a double top around 584, and that's what this is doing right here. So what happened is it came all the way back. It hit the double top. This is where I will typically buy into puts because I love this in this spot, or I can short if you have a margin account and you want to do shares versus options. So this is what I call a double top pullback. So I love this spot. So it hits the double top. I enter my puts or I short. You can see it drove all the way back down through. It broke through the 9. It broke through the 21, and it bounced on VWAP. So this is where I will sell out these positions because it could not hold and break below VWAP. The volume weighted average price I use as a primary indicator. If it's above it, that's bullish, meaning we want to go long. If it's below it, it's bearish, meaning we want to short below that. So it bounced, it stayed above it. I get out of that trade. Now, there's a second trade that's a beautiful setup inside of this. And again, we did this live. So what you can see is you can see that this formed a cup and handle. So here's your cup into the handle. Then it bounced back up. Okay, so this is bullish. A cup and handle is bullish, meaning it came back to previous area of resistance. So what are we looking for again? Okay, we're looking back up here again around this 584 range. Okay, if it breaks through the 584 range this time and stays above, then we will want to look at longing it. Now, what we're looking for is after it breaks through, we're looking for a pullback, okay? Because typically the first time it breaks through that major level of resistance, it will want to pull back. So what do I mean by that? If you look right here, right on this candle, it actually broke through, came back, and it is now down here retesting what was once resistance at 584.19 is now become support, and it stayed above this support level and stayed above the 9 and ran. So now this is an opportunity to go long. Now, when I go long on my 1 minutes, because everybody asks me, well, how do I stay in it? How do I keep my head in the game? How do I not freak out on all these little moves? Now that I'm in my trade and it's moving to where I need to go, and by the way, when I have my stop would be just below this 583.95-ish, right around this area below 594. So if you're looking at where does my stop go after I enter it, it's going to be, remember, below this support level. That way, if it does knife drop through, I'm always protected, always have your stops in place. But now that I'm in the trade, instead of looking at the 1 minute, I'm going to flip to a 5 minute. Now remember, we've converted a 1 minute scalp. Okay, so we've gone from a 1 minute over to a 5 minute. So this is what we're looking for now. So now in this trade, if we look at the 5 minute versus the 1 minute, we want to make sure it stays above the 9. The 9 is this white line right here. This is the EMA, the 9 EMA. I use this for scalping, and that way I can allow this to run. Now, you'll also notice I have the 21 on here, okay? The 21 is my purple line. If it breaks through my 21, for me, this is a major level of indicator that's telling me this is not staying inside of the range I want to be in. So let's look at this trade overall. So I got in the trade down here. I flipped to my 5 minute. You can see it stays above the 9 EMA. We start to get heavy right up in here around this 12:35 all the way to 1 o'clock right in here. Now, this breaks through my 9 EMA and holds. This is where I will start to shed, all right? So we can either shed when it pulls back to the 9. So you can see here, here, and these, right? You could shed when it does that, or you could wait till it comes down to the 21. Okay, so you could shed in this area right here. But as soon as this breaks below the 21 and holds, I'm out. I'm completely out of this position, okay? So right here, meaning this is where I would kill this position. Somewhere around this 593 would be the absolute end all for me. I don't want to be in this trade anymore. Now, my rule is on pullbacks, I like to shed. And what do I mean by that? I mean, once it pulls back, then I want to take profits. Now, this did not pull back. This went flat, okay? This pulled back. So this right here is a pullback. So if I had 10 contracts, I'll pull 50% off. If I have 100 shares, I'll pull 50 shares off. I do 50%, 20%, 20%, 10%, allow the last ones to run. But in this case, this would be my first pullback. There's 50%, okay? This is my next pullback. There's 20 more percent. I have 30% left. And then right here is where it showed me it went completely out. So in this case, I'm just completely out of the trade. But you can see, excellent trade overall. You should have made a lot of money on that one. Remember, we first made our money on the double top pullback down to VWAP, turned into a cup and handle. I rode that right back up. I could have either bounced it on the scalp off of VWAP or waited for this beautiful A+ setup, which is to break again above this 584.20. And this is where I go long, entering and allow it to run all the way up that 9 until you see it start to fight in the 21. And if you look at it, it crossed back over down here and it never came back. So hope you guys enjoyed that trade. If you would, make sure you go to americandreamtrading.com, get signed up. We've got free Discords, a free Discord server you guys can get on, and some paid memberships where we train you all day long. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys.